Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, my beautiful hot messes. My name is Mistress Lavender, and welcome to my reading YouTube. If you're looking for my regular YouTube, it's A Beautiful Hot Mess, AYE, Beautiful Hot Mess. But if you're at the right place, let's begin. We are reading the 40 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. We are on page 130, Law 18, do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. Before we start reading, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe, and turn your post notifications on. Thank you. Let's begin. Do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. The world is dangerous and enemies are everywhere. Everyone has to protect themselves. A fortress seems the safest, but isolation exposes you to more dangers than it protects you from. It cuts you off from valuable information. It makes you conspicuous and an easy target. Better to circulate among people, find allies, mingle. You are shielded from your enemies by the crowd. Transgression of the law. Qin Shi Huangdi, the first emperor of China, 2021 through 2010 BC, how did I go backwards? Was the mightiest man of his day. His empire was vaster and more powerful than that of Alexander the Great. He had conquered all the kingdoms surrounding his own kingdom of Qian and unified them into one massive realm called China. Oh, that's how China came about? But in the last years of his life, few, if anyone, saw him. The emperor lived in the most magnificent palace to that date, in the capital of Yang. The palace had 270 pavilions. All of these were connected by secret underground passageways, allowing the emperor to move through the palace without anyone seeing him. He slept in a different room every night, and everyone who inadvertently laid eyes on him was instantly beheaded. What? Only a handful of men knew his whereabouts, and if they revealed it to anyone, they too were put to death. The first emperor had grown so terrified of human contact that when he had to leave the palace, he traveled incognito, disguising himself carefully. On one such trip through the provinces, he suddenly died. His body was borne back to the palace, to the capital, in the emperor's carriage, with the cart packed with salted fish trailing behind it to cover the smell of rotting corpse. No one was to know of his death. He died alone, far from his wives, his family, his friends, and his quarters, accompanied only by a minister and a handful of eunuchs. Interpretation. Xing Huti started off as the king of Qian, a fearless warrior of unbridled ambition. Writers of the time described him as a man with a waspish nose, eyes like slits, the voice of a jackal, and the heart of a tiger or wolf. He could be merciful sometimes, but more often he swallowed men up without a scruple. Some words I don't know, so that's what I'm underlining. It was through trickery and violence that he conquered the provinces surrounding his own and created China, forging a single nation and culture out of many. He broke up the feudal system, and to keep an eye on the many members of the royal families that were scattered across the realm's various kingdoms, he moved 120,000 of them to the capital, where he had housed the most important quarters in the vast palace of Yang. He consolidated the many walls. What does that mean, consolidated? Is that like separate? Consolidated the many walls on the borders and built them into the Great Wall of China. Oh, wow. He standardized the country's laws, its written language, even the size of its cartwheels. As part of the process of unification, however, the first emperor outlawed the writings and teachings of Confucius, the philosopher whose ideas on the moral life had already become virtually a religion in Chinese culture. On Xing Huangdi's order, thousands of books relating to Confucius were burned, and anyone who quoted Confucius was to be beheaded. This made many enemies of the emperor, and he grew constantly afraid, even paranoid. The Executions Mountain, a contemporary, the writer Han Fu noted that Xian had been victorious for 4 generations, yet has lived in constant terror and apparition of destruction. As the emperor withdrew deeper and deeper into the palace to protect himself, he slowly lost control of the realm. Eunuchs and ministers enacted political policies without his approval or even his knowledge. They also plotted against him. By the end, he was emperor in name only and was so isolated that barely anyone knew he had died. Wow. He had probably been poisoned by the same scheming ministers who encouraged his isolation. Oh, someone encouraged it? Did I miss something? Who encouraged? This is what isolation brings. Retreat into a fortress and you lose contact with the sources of your power. You lose your ear for what is happening around you, as well as a sense of proportion. Instead of being safer, you cut yourself off from the kind of knowledge on which your life depends. Never enclose yourself so far from the street that you cannot hear what is happening around you, including the plots against you. That's deep. Wait, let's say it again. Never enclose yourself so far from the streets that you cannot hear what is happening around you, including the plots against you. What? My skin looks up. I look phenomenal right now. I'm glowing. We're gonna stop there. That's a really deep bar. Oh my gosh. Shut up. I need to meet this man. Robert Greene, shout out to you, man. I'm gonna meet him one day. Manifesting, putting in there. He's gonna write a book about me. Like, wow. But yeah, we're stopping at one page. We're stopping at page 132, observant to the law. That's a, like, I can't stop. Wow, that's a good, I gotta read it again. Never enclose yourself so far from the streets that you cannot hear what is happening around you, including the plots against you. What? A bar. And there's some words I didn't know. I didn't know eunuchs. I feel like that's like, what is it, peasant? I don't know. Waspish, unbridled, consolidated, whatever, yeah. But we're stopping there. Again, my name is Mistress Lavender, and thank you so much for coming to my reading YouTube channel. Go ahead and comment below. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you next episode. I read every day, or try to. I do my best. But yeah, support me. Click the link in the description box that has all my social medias and how to support the channel. Yeah, bye. Yeah.